Good evening and welcome to the University of Tampa Spartans Athletics Center. Tonight's match between the number 3 ranked Erie Buccaneers and the number 1 ranked University of Tampa Spartans. At this time, we ask that you please rise as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem, performed by the Tampa Singing and Concert Major Connor River.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the Rockies red guns bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now, here are tonight's lineups beginning with the Erie Buccaneers. First, the back reserves, number 4, Tampa. Number 5, Sophia Sikora. Number 6, Sarah Woodard. Number 7, Petra Wilkinson. Number 8, Angela Brown. Number 9, Sophia Victoria. Number 10, Jennifer Scott. Number 11, Kayla Lee. Number 17, Leila Perry. Number 21, Heather Roberts. Now the best starters, the seniors from Arizona Lady. Number 1, Kyle Review. A junior from Alaska, number 2, Barbara Janko. A sophomore from Moscow, number 3, Monica Lee. A junior from Miami, Florida, number 12, Kelly Leslie. A junior from Tampa, number 14, Amanda Williams. A freshman from Moscow, Russia, number 18, Larry Gasolina. And a freshman from Coach Rowe, number 2, Good. Head coach's office, Larry Young. Assistant officer, Soriano.
University of Tampa Spartans. First, the Spartans are number 5, Diane Smith. Number 7, Patty Soferello. Number 12, Sonia Richardson. Number 13, Olivia Islam. Number 13, number 16, Olivia. Number 17, Jennifer Bell. And number 33, Matt Coleman. And our first starters, ensemble, number 1, let's see the number 1 starter floor, number 2, Oscar Brown. Let's see the number 4, Puerto Rico, number 3, Miguel. Let's see the number 4, number 6, Jenna. Let's see the from Dickinson, number 7, Let's see from Louisville, Kentucky, number 10, Tess Schneider. And the singer from Middle Georgia, number 11, Rachel Gray. Head coach of this Western and assistant and let's lay on.
It is the matchup that we have long awaited for on a Saturday afternoon at the Martinez Center First place in the #1 ranking in the nation, hanging in the balance as the #3 ranked Berry Buccaneers, with a record of 14-1 and 7-1 in the conference, take on the undefeated and #1 ranked Tampa Spartans, 15 in a row, 7-0 in conference play. Good afternoon, everyone. Victor Anderson alongside Taylor Stallworthy, and both teams took care of business on Friday night to settle the showdown that we have this afternoon. What do you need to see from Tampa to have themselves more success against the Buccaneers like they did in the regional semifinals last year?
I think Tampa just needs to play their brand of volleyball. This season, Tampa comes in with more experience than the Bucs roster, with so many returning players who are looking for revenge. Tampa lost the double against Berry in the regular season last year, but in the playoffs, they did take a 3-1 win at neutral site. The last time Tampa won a home game against the Bucs was in 2023, but every Spartan fans know that Berry is always the most tough conference matchup. Ever since Coach Yellen has returned to the Bucs, they have been a fearsome side, and their roster this year, despite losing Diana Akapova, is just as scary as ever. This one's a 50-50 matchup. I think for the first time, Tampa isn't the favorite to win.
Well, the big reason for Berry's success is the outstanding 6'11 freshman. No, folks, I did not misspeak. 6'11 from Moscow, Russia, Valia Kozlova, the reigning ABCA National Player of the Week. It'll be the sophomore middle hitter, Frankie Good, to start things off on a Saturday afternoon. #1 versus #3 in the Martinez Center. We're underway with the service air.
And I think Tampa's going to need to capitalize a lot off of errors. They play a more patient and laid-back attacking style, which is, I think, really good, because when you've got a dangerous attacker like Kozlova, you're going to need them to send attacks and force them to make mistakes.
In the first of her many attacks, dug out by Ana Rivera. They'll go on the outside, Connor Ron finds the corner, and the Spartans with 2 straight. Same starting lineup for the #1 ranked Spartans that they had the last few weeks. Ron, Perez, Stringer on the outside, Davis and Gregg in the middle, Dondero, the setter, the libero in the pink jersey today. Ana Rivera will give you the Berry lineup after this free ball back to the Spartan side. Dondero sends it up, great dig on the backside by Reed Mueller. Free ball back over to the Spartans. Back to Ron on the outside. Kozlova pushed it through, and the freshman gets the first of her many kills, and a important side out for Berry early on.
I think the tough thing for the Spartans going up against Kozlova, you're not going to be able to block her. At 6'11", she is far and away the tallest player on the court. So Tampa's going to have to find a way to just be ready to defend her attacks, because they're not going to be able to block them.
Pushes it through the double block. Bucks trying to tie things up at 2. Going back outside to the freshman. Perez on the combo block on the outside antenna. Ron got that one down. Somehow saved by Varvara Osichenko. On the side out for the Spartans. Going to counter Ron early on. She had success in their first meeting versus Berry last year. Ironically enough, Berry swept the regular season meetings, both 3-0. Tampa got the get back in the regional semifinals in Boca Raton last year before getting eliminated by the host Fighting Knights in the regional final. In the middle, tipped over. They're going to say a legal back row attack against Stringer, and a violation gets the sign out for Berry.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at the Sunshine State Conference, you see the big 3, Tampa, Berry, and Lynn. Lynn's national championship run last year, a huge year for the program. They've taken a small step back, but when it comes to regional play, I have a feeling it's going to be one of those 3 teams making it to the national championships.
Well, they will play a mini round robin this week. We'll talk about that as this match progresses forward. Perez leaves a little short, got pressured by Osichenko, and it's 3-all early on in set #1.
That's just what Berry needed. They lost a few points early, but they need to keep up with the Spartans.
Veronica Ari-Mabel on the serve, sends it long for the service air, side out for Tampa. We'll see our first look at Jenna Glaudel and Matt Carter on the floor for Coach Brian Imperial. Brian had a couple of nice matches against the Buccaneers last year. Their 3 matches that they played against one another. Almost a service ace for Glaudel, and that will end up being an ace. That tough first touch off the hands of the libero, Reed Mueller. And that's the one thing Tampa has to take advantage of. The service game has to be on point. Barry, one of the top receiving teams in all of the Sunshine State Conference. 5-3 Tampa early on set one. Pack gets blocked. Glaudel, Ron. Off the block, off the freshman Kozlova. Spartans doubling up the Bucks early on set one.
Yeah, Tampa might have to shift their serving style to be a bit more aggressive today, like you mentioned, because as a team, Tampa's only getting 1.6 aces per set. That's because they usually just want the ball to be put in play and have a chance on defense instead of going aggressive on the serve to avoid errors.
They're going to say it's an illegal. They're going to say Matt Carter had her hand over the net before the net violation against the setter Dalia Iglesias. Rebecca Carlson down on the line with our sheriff official, both of them on top of that call. So the Bucks get the point, cut the lead down to 2-4 serving 6. Rolling right after Reed Mueller on that quick set, and some miscommunication between Frankie Good and Iglesias gives the Spartans a point.
And that's one of the downsides of having a younger team. They're still building the chemistry, even though Barry have played a lot of games this season and have found a lot of success. Their lone loss coming in an upset against Palm Beach Atlantic, taking a 3-2 defeat. You know, they're still going to have occasional errors, which you'll see less of from the Spartans, but what a strike there by Kozlova.
Tools it off the combo block from Connor Ron and Matt Carter. 7 serving 5 to 5 serving 7. The libero Reed Mueller was Gaia Reed Mueller out of Bolzano, Italy serves. Carter. That one's just a little bit long. Point for Barry.
That was a good attack by Carter, but barely couldn't paint the corner that time. That's unfortunate for the Spartans because that's exactly where you want that attack to go.
Save on a tough receive and give the kill for Ted Stringer. Side out Tampa.
Tampa's kind of shifted their focus of attacks today. Usually they're the team sitting back and absorbing more pressure, but they've actually out-attacked the Bucks by 5 so far. They've had 11 attacks compared to Barry's 6.
Bad set in the middle. Nice save by Barry. They'll send a free ball back over. Glaudel sets up in the middle, and Jenna Davis pokes it down right in front of Vara Osichenko. And the Spartans take their lead back to 3. Tampa number 1 in the nation. Barry number 3 in the nation. Battling here on this Saturday for first place in the conference. Great scramble by Stringer and a free ball back to the Bucks. Beautiful save off the set by Iglesias and sets up the kill for the Bucks.
Yeah, a lot of the eyes are going to be on Kozlova today. Volosichenko has also had a great season, 2.13 kills per set. She's the tertiary attacking option for the offense, but definitely someone to keep an eye on.
She was big in their win versus Florida Southern last night, winning in Jenkins Fieldhouse in 4. Bucks can't handle that swing off the right arm of Ted Stringer. Side out for Tampa. Perez and Dondero back on the floor.
Yeah, it was a big 3-1 win for the Bucks last night. In the 3 games they've had since their defeat against Palm Beach Atlantic, they've only dropped 1 set, sweeping Florida Tech, sweeping Embry-Riddle, and 3-1 against Florida Southern.
Left-handed shot. Did that ball go down? Yeah, it got down before Colorado could get those palms on the floor. Another kill for Zinchenko. 8 serving 10, set number 1. Victor Anderson, Taylor Stolworthy, glad that you're with us on this Saturday afternoon. Should be a fun one. And that was a fun set from Dondero to Jenna Davis, side out Tampa.
I think Tampa, despite having a handful of errors early on, have looked really good on the attack today. Honestly, better than they've had in some of their previous games throughout conference play. You know, they've had 3 misses, but I think it's because Barry's played good defense with good discipline to force some Spartan errors early on.
And a lack of discipline cost the Spartans the point. Now off-speed shot, kind of caught the back row from Tampa off guard, and the Bucks get the service right back. Nice serving, 12 on the serve of Zajovic. Overpass, Tampa handles it. Nondero pops it back on the second touch. Ron, blocked, out of bounds, point Tampa.
That's a great play there for Connor Ron, hitting it off the block. She doesn't always become the lead attacker for the Spartans, but tonight she's on fire, so Tampa are giving her a lot of chances to attack. Currently leads the way with 6 attacks and 4 kills for the Spartans.
Tampa has the team hitting .333 in set 1. Barry hitting .357. And we'll add to that total as Kozlova slams home another kill. 7 straight matches in double-digit kills, and safe to say it's not a matter of if but when. That will become 8 straight. ABCA National Player of the Week last week for her efforts. And the service game, which has been a big part of Barry's success, comes through on the service ace.
Barry pretty aggressive and pretty efficient for aces, 123 entering today. They do have 159 errors, so they do commit errors at a larger rate than aces. But when you're getting 2.3 aces per set, that's a great way you can get early points in the ballgame.
Ron finds it through. When everyone was focusing right along the net, there was no support on the outside for Ari Mava, and that's where Connor Ron placed it for the Tampa kill on the side out. Gladell and Carter back on the floor, and it'll be Gladell on serve. 13-11 Tampa as we approach halfway through this first set. And almost caught the back leg in the back corner, but it'll be a service here, point Barry.
That was exactly where Tampa wanted that serve, right on the corner, but just served a little too far forward by Gladell. She is one of the leaders in aces for the Spartans. Rivera actually has 18, leading the way for you, Tampa.
Kozlova, another tough serve. The receiving game has been clean for Tampa so far, except that one miscue. And that's another great swing by Connor Ron, a side out for the Spartans.
Yeah, I think that's been huge for Tampa. Even though they have been on the other end of one ace from the Bucks, they've done a good job defending, and they've actually done a good job against Kozlova's attacks. She is hitting .333, but 6 of her attacks were unable to go for points so far.
Kozlova right near the 10-foot line, still able to get a great swing on that Connor Ron, who sends it back to the Bucks. That one goes long, there was no touch. They had to be aware of Iglesias, her ability to get that second touch attack. She has 11 kills on the season. She can execute when that's needed. Gonna do so there. We'll see Laney Purdue come on for Connor Ron to serve.
Purdue has sort of become a service specialist for the Spartans, usually coming in to take some serves, and while she doesn't average too many aces per set, you know, she is pretty efficient when she gets the ball. I could send it over.
Kozlova lets that one short into the net. And mainly the other reason behind that, Taylor, is that they're going right after Connor Ron on the serve for Barry. So that's why they're going to put Purdue in to shore up that back line defensively, as Petra Berkercic will check on the floor for the first Barry substitution. Director of Volleyball, Lenny Yellen, doesn't like to use many substitutions. Partially blocked. Good job by Tampa playing that overpass. And Kozlova slaps home another kill.
With a team that has a strong front six like Barry, you definitely want them to stay on the floor as long as possible. But as the game goes on, you do need to rotate. Kind of the opposite of how Imperial's Spartan side works. There is so much depth for the Spartans, and sure, there are stars like Connor Ron, like Tess Schrenger, like Natalie Perez. But it's like a puzzle with the pieces being interchangeable. They can go in and out and back and forth. And when games go long, Tampa usually have players that can be fresh when they have a set to rest or have long periods on the bench.
Reed Mueller First serves for Barry. Hopped over by Carter. Tough receive by Kozlova. Rolls it over, but just goes out of bounds. I like the idea. Execution was just a bit long. And the Spartans with their biggest lead in set one.
That's going to bring Davis back onto the floor. Obviously, Tampa usually does a good job getting blocks today, but when Kozlova attacks, it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, Lanier yelled at motion of Rebecca Carlson. He wanted a timeout. We saw him clearly motion it. He finally gets the timeout recognized. We'll take it along with them. Tampa up by 4, 17-13 in set one on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
First 50 years of the Sunshine State Conference inspired champions and built a legacy rooted in excellence. A legacy built from a single sport to a conference of national champions.
The national championship.
Threaded through geography, fueled by growth, defined by excellence. 135 team national titles, 173 individual champions, and hundreds of Scholar All-Americans. Always at the top of NCAA Division II. Looking ahead, we reflect on where we started and where we're going. The Sunshine State Conference, where success thrives.
$17-13, set number one. Victor Anderson, Taylor Storeworthy with you at the Bob Martinez Athletic Center. Number one ranked Tampa Spartans against the third ranked Buccaneers of Barry. It has been a good one so far. And that's a good swing off the timeout by Vavar Osichenko, getting the Bucks to side out as we come back from the timeout.
Barry trailing at this stage of the set. Tampa loves to carry a comfortable lead through this period, but it's not going to be easy to close it out, especially as Kozlova and the Bucks look to heat up.
Osichenko serves for the Bucks. Stringer off the block, pop back over. That's going to just hit the antenna, but it's going to land out of bounds regardless. So Stringer will get the kill on the Tampa side out. We'll bring Dondero and Perez back on the floor. They'll be joined by Stringer, Davis, Laney Perdue, who's still on the floor, and Anna Rivera de Libero. So received by Reed Mueller on the serve. Free ball to Perez. In the middle, just got enough right over that 6'11" frame of Kozlova. And all of a sudden it's 19-14. It's Kozlova, Osichenko, and Libero, Reed Mueller on the back line. Zujobis, Iglesias, and Merkurcic on the floor, and that's going to go off the antenna. 20-14 Tampa. We see Coach Yellen will use his second timeout, though he's going to use his second substitution as Dalia Iglesias will check on the floor.
One thing that's kind of interesting stats-wise, Kozlova only has 3 solo blocks and 31 block assists on the season. You'd imagine being 6'11", you'd have more on the stat sheet, but I think they want her for attacks like that.
Great scramble by Tampa. They can't get the free ball over. Great individual effort by Tess Stringer, but falls into the net, side out for Barry.
Tampa did an incredible job getting 3 touches after that absolutely brilliant attack. But yeah, they can't even send a free ball back over. That's just how tough it was to receive.
15 serving 20. Barry needed some points, and they're going to be the recipient of another Tampa miscue. 16 serving 20. A rare bad set from Dondero to Jenna Davis. Something that's happened very rarely in this 15-0 start for the top-ranked team in the Division II ranks. Stringer over the left shoulder, Reed Mueller, side out Tampa.
That's a big point for the Spartans to get. They're now 4 points away from the set, and that will force a final timeout from the Bucks.
As Connor Ron will check back in for Laney Perdue. Timeout Barry, out of timeouts in set number one. 21-16 Tampa will close out set number 1 after this on the Sunshine Conference Digital Network. We're back inside the Bob Martinez Center alongside Taylor Stolworthy. I'm Victor Anderson. Spartans 4 points away from closing out the first set. Tess Stringer on the service. We return back from the final Barry timeout. Free ball back over to the Spartans. Orange have a bit of an advantage, and they will take advantage of it off the swing from Connor Ron off the antenna.
Connor Ron has been on fire today. She's going up against one of the best players in the conference and is currently winning the battle. 7 kills on 9 attacks compared to Kozlova's 4 kills on 13 attacks. Ron doing a good job on defense too. She has an early dig.
Partially a block popped up by Dondero. They'll go over to the All-American Perez. That one will be blocked. That one will be the reigning defensive player of the week in the conference. Ivana Sujovic had 11 total blocks in their 3-set sweep last week versus Embry Riddle. That's the most for any Buccaneer in a 3-set match in program history in conference play. And she'll be on the serve of her team down 5. Back to Ron, through the block. Kozlova, dug out by Rivera. Kozlova splits it in between Ron and Rivera. Bucks cut the lead back down to 4. Tampa has forced Barry to use both of their timeouts. Have not needed one as of yet. Dondero, tight save on the net. And that one goes into the net from Connor Ron. 19 serving 22. See if Brian Imperial will use his first timeout here. Here's the answer will be no for right now.
If they hit 22-20, that's where I think it would be a good idea to call it after Barry goes on a 3-point run. You don't want them to generate too much momentum here. Tampa still has a safe enough lead for the moment, but it could go away.
Off the roof, nice play by the Buccaneers. Tipped over, off the net, there was no touch. Point for Tampa. Good pressure right near the net by Perez and Connor Ron. There was no touch on that net. 23-19, Ana Rivera will serve. She herself a former Sunshine State Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Big block. That goes out of bounds. Point for the Bucks.
Good combo on the block attempt by Dondero and Rachel Gregg, but it just stays away. Barry actually tried to keep it alive on the dive. They were unsuccessful, which was actually bad news for Tampa as it does go out of bounds.
Wicked backspin on that serve. Perez going right after Reed Mueller on those attacks near the antenna. Dondero, Perez through the block. Buccaneers set up the offense. Kozlova, great dig. That would have been a great effort by Connor Ron as she was able to prevent that from going over. 23-21, and that will force a timeout for Tampa head coach Brian Imperial. Imperial will keep it here. And you kind of mentioned it, Tyler, a few points ago. If you got to 22-20, then he'll peg the timeout. Tampa got the lead back to 4, but 2 straight points for the Bucks forces the hand of the head coach with the timeout.
Yeah, they do remain in a good spot. You generally, in a situation like this, want to have as large of a lead as the gap is to 25. They need 2 points to win this set. They're up by 2 points against the Bucks. This timeout is just to prevent Barry from getting any extra momentum. As we've been back and forth for the last couple points, they do get 2 kills in a row. That time Kozlova, her 6th of the game. Obviously, Barry's strategy has been feeding her the rock. 17 of the 29 attacks have come from her, and it feels like she's getting more comfortable against the Tampa defense. That's going to be the danger. Tampa doing a good job defending her early on, but when Kozlova finds the holes in the Spartans' defense, that's when she might heat up and Tampa could get into a bit of trouble.
And this is where they really need to get Veronica Arimeva involved, like what they did last night versus Florida Southern. Kozlova kind of struggled, hit 234 in spite of the 17 kills, but it was Arimeva who was that number 2 option with 16 kills to pace the very 4-set win over Florida Southern.
Yeah, Arimeva is averaging 4.03 kills per set, which is a really good number, especially when you know that Kozlova has so many as well.
And she gives up the point in the service off the timeout. Set point for Tampa. Laudel and Carter on the floor. Set point for Tampa, and it'll be the freshman from West Chicago, Jenna Laudel, to serve for the set. Now one sneaks inside the line. Osichenko with the kill, 24-22. Barry stays off 1 set point. And it'll be Kozlova on the serve. Nice save by Laudel. Tipped over. Off the net, reprieved by the Spartans defensively. Carter rolls it over. Good individual effort. Saving out one by Iglesias. Off the block, set 1 for number 1 in the nation. Great swing by Rachel Gregg on her 3rd attack of the set, and it proves to be the pivotal attack as Tampa takes the opening set 25-22. We'll recap set 1 and get you set for set number 2 action here from the Martinez Center after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport, it's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all, because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
No, that love of sports is the #1 reason most people start officiating, and verbal abuse is the #1 reason why most quit. Act with respect and be officially human.
Back inside the Martinez Center, Tampa takes set number 1, 25-22. Victor Anderson alongside Taylor Stolworthy. Tampa hit 294 in that first set to Barry's 250. The Stars played like stars in set number 1. Valeria Kozlova, 6 kills, hit 222. Connor Ron was a house of fire on set 1, 7 kills, hit 538. But it was the other parts for Tampa that was able to get them the victory in that opening set.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa did what they needed to. They played good defense, but Tampa's play style was turned on its head. They're always a team that attacks less, but is more efficient. But in the first set, they actually had 2 more attacks than the Bucks, but remained more efficient, getting those extra kills, getting a better hit percentage. And notably, even though Kozlova had a great first set, they didn't let her take over the set, as Connor Ron, Tess Stringer, and Jenna Davis each had great starts to the game on offense.
Teams will go with their same starting lineups on set number 2 for set number 1. Rachel Gray will start out the floor for the libero Ana Rivera. Joined by Connor Ron, Natalie Perez, Tess Stringer, Jenna Davis, and Kayla Dondero. For Barry, out the floor will be Frankie Good. So their 6 to start off will be Osichenko, Elias, Kozlova, Sajovic, Reed Mueller de libero, and Ari Mava. And into that, just like Barry started set number 1 with service air, Tampa starts set number 2 with a swing into the net.
I think for Barry, the key is going to be to get an early lead and take control of the set. Tampa was able to do that in set number 1. They eventually had a couple of runs to extend their advantage, but it remained pretty close throughout. And if Barry could get the early lead and make sure it stays pretty close, they might be able to level the score 1-1.
Splits down 1 through. Good job on the left-handed swing by Ari Mava. Bucks up 2-0.
It's great when you have someone that's a left-handed attacker, because they can always be dangerous when you're not expecting them to hit it across that other side.
Right in the middle, right to Jenna Davis, but the overpass ends up catching the corner. Sujovic will get credit with the kill and an early 3-0 Barry lead.
That was exactly the attack Tampa wanted. If that ball hit a couple of degrees to the left off of Sujovic, that's a Spartans point, but it lands right behind the Spartans defense.
She remains on serve with the net serve. Great scramble by Barry, pushed back over to the Spartans. Barry playing tremendous defense on those quick attacks by Tampa. Off the head, that's gonna... Spartans scrambled and could not get that one over. 4-0 Barry. And it'll be an early timeout for Brian Imperial. Barry putting a foot on the gas early on, a 4-0 run to start set number 2 when we come back to the Martinez Center on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. It's been all Barry to start off set number 2. Bucks with a 4-0 advantage. Victor Anderson with Taylor Stolworthy. Tampa took the first set, 25-22. And the Bucks trying to do what they did versus Florida Southern last night. They split the first 2 sets and then cruised in sets 3 and 4 en route to the win in Lakeland. Ivana Sujovic remains on serve. They'll go back outside to Stringer. Dug out by Osichenko. Spartans trying to avoid going down 5-0, and they will. Jenna Davis with the kill, but the Tampa side out.
Tampa using the early timeout wasn't because they were down 4-0. I think it was because that fourth point saw just miscommunication and a collision between Dondero and her teammate. Because Tampa just seemed to be making those early mistakes, Coach Imperial using the very early timeout just to try to get them back on track, and it's clearly worked for the first point.
Big block, that's Perez along with Jenna Davis. Back-to-back points where the Spartans cut the deficit in half. Lefty untouched. Perez right there on the backside. Going to Ron off the block. Nope, there was no touch at the net point for Barry.
That's the first error on the attack of the game for Connor Ron. One interesting note, you take a look at the numbers to start the set. Tampa, they already have 9 attacks in the game. Barry only 3 in the set.
But it's Barry with the 6-2 lead off the service ace. Barry tops in the conference in total aces and aces per set, and one of the best servers, Ari Mava, shows you why. 31st service ace on the season. 32. Barry's service game continues to be a weapon. And if Spartans can't get it over, it is 8-2.
Yeah, Barry, 4-2 run out of the timeout. They've taken 4 straight as well. And if they're able to just, I think, keep this up a little bit longer.
Into the net for the service air.
They might be able to take that second set and equalize. Avoiding going down 2 will be big for the Bucks, and I don't think they're going to do so, thanks to this early lead. But this game's going to go down to the wire.
8 serving, 3 serving 8 as Ana Rivera serves to over to the Bucks. Perez has been quiet this afternoon before she registers that kill. 4 serving 8, and now Tampa trying to string some things together. It was 4-0 Barry, Tampa timeout, Tampa 2 straight, Barry 4-0, Tampa 2 straight. Loading serve to the opposing libero. Kozlova breaks a mini Tampa run, side out Barry.
Kozlova is definitely a setter's dream, because when you're 6'11", if you hit the ball a little too high up, that doesn't matter, because Kozlova's just going to jump to get it. If you hit the ball at your normal height, Kozlova doesn't have to jump and she's going to be able to get it. It gives you so much room to give her passes to open up good attacks like that, and she'll take her first breather of the game as she heads to the bench.
Hitchich and Delius on the floor for Barry. Hitchich set to serve, sophomore out of Croatia. Right in the middle, great dig by Reed Mueller, back to the Spartan side. Overpass, nobody there to back up Dondero, and it's been all Barry in set number 2.
Yeah, it was important for them to start off strong, and even after the 4-0 run, they've still taken 6 out of the last 10 points against the Spartans. And kind of in that back and forth flow, 2 points Tampa, 4 points Barry, 2 points Tampa, 2 points Barry. But now it's 1 point Spartan after the error.
When you have an aggressive serving style like the Bucks do, you're gonna have the service there. It's like a home run hitter in baseball. You're gonna have a lot of strikeouts, but you're gonna have a lot of home runs as well. As evidenced by the stats for Barry, they only had 2 matches this year where they have failed to record at least 5 service aces. Jack just misses the line on the backside. Service air for Tampa. Barry takes the lead back, 5 serving, 11 serving 5, as Gaia Reed-Mueller will be on serve. Lionel, quick set, great dig by Remuller. And a second touch back over by Osichenko. She saw all the Tampa jerseys in front of the 10-foot line, took a chance, and the gamble pays off.
That was close, impressive dig. I thought that bounced off the ground, and I think the Tampa players did too. They were slow to react as they quickly then got the next attack over. Unlucky for the Spartans, great play by the Bucks.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Off the jump shot on the backside by Glaudel. 6-12. You see down below associate head coach Steven Soriano. Tip attack blocked, but out of bounds. Delius could get credit with the kill. 13-6. Berries led wire to wire in set number 2. Went on a 4-0 run to start the set to force an early Tampa timeout. Reed Mueller, outside, Ari Maba. Tampa scrambles. Stringer blocked. Perez trying to find the back row. Buccaneers right on top of it. Through the block is Delius. 14-6. Timeout Tampa. The Buccaneers looking for a measure of revenge after seeing their season end last year at the hands of the Spartans. They are 14-6. Looking up to even up this match when we return on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Did you know that verbal abuse from fans, coaches, and players is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away from sports? Act with respect. Be officially human.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
14-6 Barry in set number 2, trying to even up this best-of-5 match against the #1 team in the nation. Victor Anderson alongside Taylor Stolworthy. Barry in set number 2 hitting .500. Tampa only hitting .125. And that's with Valeria Kozlova, the reigning National Player of the Week, not recording a single kill in this set so far. Tess Stringer records a kill to bring us back from the timeout.
However, they really haven't needed Kozlova in the second set. Everyone else doing a great job on defense and on offense. That's why they have a pretty comfortable lead at the moment. You know, Tampa's got plenty of time to try to fight back.
Overpass to the Spartans. Glaudel, right in the middle. Buccaneers right on top of it. Carter popped up on the back row. Good play by Osichenko. They'll go backside to Carter. Works it through the block, and Matt Carter gets that one through. And the Bucks, which has kind of been the trend, they string 2 points together, but they can't string that 3rd or 4th consecutive point.
Yeah, Barry's been able to do that a few times in the set. Tampa has not.
And as if on cue, a service error.
I think for the Spartans, even though there's still time, they're probably going to drop the set and probably going to get to 1-1. What Tampa should be looking to do is just build momentum to carry into that 3rd set, because that's going to be the big one. Whoever goes up 2-1 is going to be at a huge place to win this game. Tampa's only had one 5-set match this year, but this very well could be a second one.
Hop back over on a great serve. Blocked. They say the block landed out of bounds.
I think Tampa might have reached over a little too much on the play. That's what Barry was protesting after the point was called in favor of the Spartans, and the ref on the other side actually agreed.
Not much consternation from the Tampa side of things. Through the block right there is Reed Mueller to trigger the offense. Kozlova right off the shoulder of Tess Stringer.
Yeah, nothing you can do on that play if you're Tess Stringer. That's an unstoppable attack. What a kill by Kozlova.
She has 8 kills on the match. 7 of them came in set number 1. Elia sends that one wide on the service air. So substitution for Barry. As checking back on the floor will be Iglesias. Tampa will sub in Dondero and Perez. Yeah, when you have the big serve like a lot of these Buccaneer players do, you're gonna have those service airs, but you're gonna have those games with service aces. And they've had at least 10 matches with 7 or more service aces on this season. By far the most of any team in the Sunshine State Conference. And Stringer gets that one home. Now can Tampa again get a 3rd consecutive point? They're down 10 serving 17. And Anita Yellen will use one of his timeouts to kind of reset things for his team. We'll keep it here on the floor as Barry dominating over Tampa 17-10 in set number 2. And we reference the service game for Barry. They have 3 matches with at least 11 service aces, and then in their win at Lynn on September 27th, they had 14 service aces as a team. Again, only 2 matches where the Bucks have failed to record at least 7 service aces. One of them came in their lone loss against Nova Southeastern all the way back on September 26th. So the service game continues to be a weapon, and so far today, Taylor, 4 service aces, 6 service airs, but a lot of points for Barry have been because of Tampa's inability to cleanly receive those Buccaneer serves.
Yeah, and that's really just an onslaught of offense from Barry. They'll get you with aggressive serves, and when you get into a flow back and forth, a longer rally bruise, eventually there's an attack that's going to be sent Kozlova's way, and it's really a gamble if you can even get under it because, you know, she's 6'11", she's got impressive power. You can stop her attack sometimes, but eventually she's going to get the kills.
Off the timeout, on the serve, the Spartans. So go on the backside, works it through the block as Ari Mava to get a side out for the Bucks.
I think the numbers really compare for the Bucks as you take a look at how they're doing against Tampa is how they did against Lynn, because Tampa's the closest strength, or Lynn is the closest strength foe compared to the Spartans in terms of opponents Barry has faced this season.
And they handled the Fighting Knights in 4 sets in Boca Raton. Net violation whistled against, the call that one appears against Natalie Perez. So Barry continues their onslaught, and we appear to have a 1-all match. Getting ready for a pivotal set number 3 unless Tampa can pull off something miraculous to close out set 2. Kozlova, dug out by Rivera. Stringer rolls it over, popped up nicely in the air by Barry. Perez on the second touch, that one gets snuffed out. That's Frankie Good, the sophomore from Palm Coast, sniffing out that attack from Perez, and the Bucks are doubling up the Spartans.
Huge block by Good that time. It looked like a good attack there from Perez. Was in a good spot, but she read the play, got in front of it, and her block went too far away for Tampa to keep that one alive.
Blocked again, this time is Ari Mava. It's been all Barry in set number 2. 21-10. We'll see a substitution for Tampa. Laney Purdue will come on the floor, and I expect her to be a bigger factor as this match progresses on, particularly with the receiving game from Barry's serves. Dondero in the middle. Jenna Davis gets the kill, side out for Tampa.
And Barry only need 4 points in the 10-point lead. But if Tampa can get some momentum late set and maybe take, I'd say 6 or 7 out of the last 10 points of the period, that'll give them a good momentum to try to carry into what will be the most important set of the day, set 3.
They're going to say going underneath the net was Iglesias. That right foot clearly over on the Tampa side of the floor. To the lefty, played by Purdue. Ron. I haven't said her name much in set number 2. And right there, on top of it once again, is Frankie Good.
Yeah, Ron's had 5 attacks, but no kills and 1 error in the set. They've game planned well to limit her activity on the Spartans offense. I think she's been playing a bit further back, more defensively in the set, as Barry have been overpowering on the attack. 455 hitting percentage. You'd have to go back a long time for Tampa to have conceded that hitting percentage in a set.
And another service ace by Ari Mava. 4th service ace of this set for Barry. Off the net serve to Rivera. Now they're going to hit off the shoulder of Reed Mueller. Perez will get credited with the kill and the side out. Barry still 2 points away from evening up the match. Now we'll sail wide at his set point. 24-13. And we'll see Michaela Delius come on for Iglesias. Kozlova's to serve for set number 2 for Barry. They have led wire to wire. Started off this set on a 4-0 run, prompting an early timeout, and have not looked back since. Over, free ball back over to the Spartans, and miscommunication. Rivera had to scramble over to set up that free ball opportunity. Off the block, Osichenko puts an exclamation point on a dominant wire-to-wire set 2 win for Barry. Start off the set 4-0 and did not look back as they need Yellen and the Bucks even up this best of 5 at 1 set apiece. Pivotal set 3 to who would take control of this match coming up at the Martinez Center on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
First 50 years of the Sunshine State Conference inspired champions and built a legacy rooted in excellence. A legacy built from a single sport to a conference of national champions. Threaded through geography, fueled by growth, defined by excellence. 135 team national titles, 173 individual champions, and hundreds of Scholar All-Americans. Always at the top of NCAA Division II. Looking ahead, we reflect on where we started, where we are, and where we're going. The Sunshine State Conference, where success thrives.
Back here inside the Martinez Center, Tampa squeaked out set 1, but Barry dominated set 2, 25 to 12. Eric separate pivotal set 3. Victor Anderson alongside Taylor Stowworthy. The service game continues to be the big factor for the number 3 ranked Buccaneers, especially from Veronica Arimeva. 5 service aces, 4 of them coming in that second set. Just absolute dominance in the service game for her.
Yeah, and alongside that, Tampa very costly on the serves. They've committed 5 errors to just 1 ace. Tampa's been more aggressive on the attack today. And while it worked out in set number 1, they were not up to the best stuff in attack in set number 2 with a 161 hitting percentage.
Barry for the match hitting 345 to Tampa's 231. Both teams back with their starting lineups for the first 2 sets. Off the block, but goes out of bounds. Another kill for Veronica Arimeva. She has 7 kills. Behind Valeria Kozlova, she has 9. Only 2 for Kozlova in that second set because of the emergence of Michaela Delius, who had 3 kills during that block. Music still playing. I don't know. Now the music stops. And that proved to be Justin Oda going to call a lift violation against Barry.
Yeah, in the second set, Kozlova was also able to rest a bit with Barry holding an early and comfortable lead. And that's really good for the Bucks to keep their star kind of at full energy as we approach the third set, which is going to be the do-or-die set. Whoever takes that 2-1 lead is going to be in a great position to win the match.
Stringer on to serve. Kozlova blocked by Jenna Davis. If they can find a way to neutralize that attack from the antenna across the middle with Davis and Gray, Tampa will have a chance in this third set. Pushes it over, right back to Dondero. Matt Carter off the block from Barry, back to the Spartans. Free ball by Connor Ron. And a good touch off the swing by Sujovic. And one interesting change, Taylor, in set number 3. Usually we see Dondero and Perez together, but it's Dondero and Carter starting set number 3, so that will likely mean Gladell and Perez will come on when Tampa has a chance for a rotation.
Yeah, Perez has been a little bit colder on the attack today. Barry have defended against her well. Matt Carter's found a bit more success, so they bring her on the floor.
And Arimeva showing that she could do it on the defensive end with the combo block, 3 serving 2. Talked about Tampa's service game, but their blocking game has been just as dominant this year. Another block by the Bucks. Go backside, tipped over, just over the outstretched arm of Ana Rivera.
Great placement on that attack by Arimeva. Tampa was defending pretty far back, so she knew she couldn't use a lot of power, so she simply pokes it over and it falls in front of Rivera and Tampa's defense.
Very likely with the win, could assume the number 1 spot in the nation in this week's poll. Free ball back over on a quick swing by Kozlova. Middle set pulled down by Frankie Good. 5 serving 2.
Yeah, whoever wins this game will certainly be top team in the nation. But you do have to guess that even if Barry loses this game, they'd probably get the promotion to second in the nation after their pretty strong win earlier this week against Florida Southern. They'll also open up next week with a tough matchup, their second time against the Fighting Knights.
And I will just graze this off the fingertips, side out for Tampa. Ana Rivera on the serve. And Tampa find a way to get more consistent offense alongside Ron and Stringer. Going right after Dondero. Another swing and a kill for Arimeva. Side out for Barry.
Yeah, I think Barry just have to keep the ball away from Ana Rivera. I mean, Ana Rivera can save the Titanic. She has been incredible all season long as one of the best liberos in the conference. Already 9 digs today, leads everyone across both rosters.
Sails wide for a service air, side out for Tampa, and we will see, as we kind of alluded to, Jenna Glaudel and Natalie Perez. Ryan Imperial kind of switching things up between his two setters. Again, it's usually Glaudel going with Carter and Perez with Dondero. Switching it up in set number 3. Kozlova, great dig by Perez. Ron sends it back to the Bucks. Off the block and off the antennas, Osichenko. Point for Barry.
What's interesting for you, Tampa, is we haven't seen Ari Lopez hit the floor at all today, but I think it's because Glaudel's had a very solid start. Already 9 assists, has an ace, the lone ace for the Spartans, and done an all right job on defense with 2 digs in the early going.
Michaela DeLeas back on the floor, Kozlova on the serve. Another tough receive by Tampa. Diaz tips it through. Spartans collide all over the floor. That's gonna not go over the antenna. Tampa thought that one was clean.
Barry immediately were up in arms saying that it had been out, including Coach Yellen, who looks really annoyed that they had a delayed call, although they do get it eventually to go their way.
Spartan fans trying to will their team back into this third set. Glaudel, Ron, block, stays with Tampa. And a bad set. So miscommunication between Glaudel and Rachel Gray. Thought it was going to be a quick set. Timeout, Tampa. Barry up 9-4, and the Barry fans starting to get engaged here and on this Saturday afternoon. More for the Martinez Center after this here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Back inside the Martinez Center. Spartan fans trying to will their #1 ranked team down 9-4 set 3. Best of 5 time of the centerpiece alongside Taylor Stowworthy. Victor Anderson, glad that you're with us on this Saturday afternoon. Barry picking up right where they left off in set number 2, hitting a robust 500 in this third set. Tampa trying to find some answers. Won't get one there. Great defense by the Bucks. Glaudel backside, Ron off the fingertips of Reed Mueller, side out for Tampa.
Yeah, Ron certainly needed that kill to get back on track. That is number 9 on the game. She is tied for the overall lead with Kozlova, but also Arameva, who's combined 9 kills on 16 attacks for a .562 hitting percentage.
Connor Ron serves as she gets that kill. Elias off the net. And it's all been going the way of the sophomore from West Palm Beach in this match so far. Continues her effective hitting. Takes the lead back 10-5. Libero, Gaia, Reed Mueller will serve. And that one inside the free throw line for the 6th service ace for Barry.
Yeah, just a misread by the Spartans defense. Great serve by Reed Mueller.
That's the first ace by a Buck, not named Veronica Arimeva this afternoon. Little set that catches the corner. And that's what Tampa has to take advantage of. Those middle sets to Rachel Gray.
Yeah, Greg's been pretty good when getting the ball so far. That's her 2nd kill on 7 tries. She will take a quick breather. The serve specialist, Purdue, in the game.
Purdue on for Greg and will serve. With the Spartans down 5-6, serving 11 in set number 3. Tampa to the first set, 25-22. Barry Cruz in set 2, 25-12. 25-13, excuse me. Through the block, that somehow got saved. Schranger, great play by Reed Mueller right behind the free throw line. Bucks trying to regain the serve. Great dig on the back row by Connor Ron. Overpass, out of bounds, point Tampa.
That is big momentum now for the Spartans to build. The Bob has been quiet for a little bit because Barry have been large and in charge, but there is a very solid fan contingent for Cancer Awareness Night. So if they can get the crowd excited, the momentum and mood can really shift in favor of Tampa.
Well, when swings like that happen, you can get the advantage right back to the visitors. Another kill for Aaron Mava, side out Barry.
You know, for Coach Leonard Yellen, he has been so decorated across his career from D2 to D1. But one thing he's incredible at is talent acquisition, recruitment, and development. He's had 2 of the last 2 SSC Freshman of the Year in Osachenko in 2023 and Arameva in 2024, and you have to assume for 2025 it'll be Kozlova.
Making 3 straight years. That one's so out of bounds. A point for Barry, 13-7. Tampa's already used 1 timeout in this 3rd set. Schranger rolls it through the block. Elias pops it up, starts the offense. Tip shot. Somehow pumped back over to the Bucks. Good effort by Connor Ron. Rodell with the dig. Tampa's back row starting to be a little bit more active. Bucks trying to win the long rally. Through the block, Perez. Block. Davis. Point Tampa. Dondero and Carter back on the floor, and maybe that could be the block that sparks a Tampa rally at the halfway point of set 3.
Yeah, after you win a long point like that, it really can light a fire under a team to get something going.
Dondero has to scramble near the antenna. Tampa with the free ball. Aaron Mava going right after Lanny Purdue, and great response by Barry after losing that long rally on the previous point.
Yeah, if you're Barry, you just can't afford to let Tampa build momentum at this stage of the set. You have the 6-point lead. The ball is in your court, as you would, but you can surrender occasional points, you can surrender occasional rallies. We just can't let Tampa build that much momentum.
Elias with another beautiful serve. Push right the antenna, and Stringer off the block of Aaron Mava. Side out Tampa.
These games here are going to be very important for the conference championship. Tampa leads the way for the SSC with their undefeated record, but we're about to have a tie at the top of the table if Tampa lose the 15-game undefeated streak to start the season today.
And Barry will have the tiebreaker going into their run back in the next to last week of the regular season. They'll be in Miami Shores, and a point for Barry. A long way to go in this match and in the season.
Yeah, most Tampa sports and Sunshine State Conference athletic sports, you face an opponent once, whether it's a short series or just a one-game fixture. You have games home and away twice against opponents for volleyball.
And that one falls a little bit short. Ron took a little bit off of it and snuck it inside the 10-foot line for the side out for the Spartans.
Yeah, and Victor, I think it's been Ron kind of adapting her attacking style after she was kept quiet in the second set. We've seen her get more success here in the third set, but also Tess Schrenger stepping up to have 9 kills in the game now.
Rachel Gray back on the floor for Tampa. Frankie Good back on the floor for Barry. Ana Rivera on the service. 10 serving 15, 10 serving 16 after the service air.
They haven't been the only reason Tampa's been losing these most recent sets, but they certainly have been helping. You know, Tampa has to be a little more disciplined. They're getting more aggressive on the serve because they honestly have to. Barry's a team that you really can't allow them to get too hot, so you want to force big points like that.
Great job by Matt Carter through the combo block of Osichenko, and good. Side out for Tampa. That'll bring Claudel and Perez back on the floor for the Spartans. 16-11, Barry with the lead, set 3. Victor Anderson, Taylor Stolworthy, glad that you're with us inside the Bob Martinez Athletic Center on this Saturday afternoon. And another Tampa service air. Both teams with 7 service airs, but 6 aces for Barry compared to only 1 for the Spartans. Kozlova on the serve. Another double-digit kill performance for the 6'11 freshman from Russia. Almost added a service ace to the register as well. Through the block, finds the corner, Osichenko. 18-11. I think Brian Piliao might use his final timeout. He will. A completely different Barry team from what we saw in set number 1. Bucks in command, trying to close out set 3 when we come back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
First 50 years of the Sunshine State Conference inspired champions and built a legacy rooted in excellence. A legacy built from a single sport to a conference of national champions. Threaded through geography, fueled by growth, defined by excellence. 135 team national titles, 173 individual champions, and hundreds of Scholar All-Americans. Always at the top of NCAA Division II. Looking ahead, we reflect on where we started, where we are, and where we're going. The Sunshine State Conference, where success thrives.
18-11 in favor of the visitors from Miami Shores. Trying to take a 2-1 lead in this best-of-5 match. Victor Anderson alongside Taylor Stolworthy. What's the number one thing you need to see from Tampa to give themselves any momentum and close this deficit?
Honestly, I really don't know what Tampa can do apart from play flawlessly. I mean, obviously avoiding the service errors to help them give a chance to build momentum would help. But with how Barry been playing, they just look to be the better team today. And I would not fault the 15-0 run to come to an end for the Spartans, because this is just a star-studded Barry roster. And for Tampa to win, they have to play like they did in set 1, where they were absolutely electric. Barry was still really good. Tampa one step ahead. Barry have kept up their level of play. Tampa just have struggled to.
Connor on with that last kill. Go to Tess Stringer. Bucks have been strong again in this third set. Off the net, no touch out of bounds. Point for Tampa. 18-13. Let's see if Lanita Yellen will use early timeout. He will not. We saw him do that during set number 2. Set that was dominated by the Bucks, 25-13. Off the net to Rivera. All right, in the middle of Connor on. Second touch, got back over. And they're calling net violation. Would have been a kill nonetheless for Tess Stringer. 14-18. Timeout. Barry will keep it here. And that's the kind of response you wanted to see from Tampa. 3-0 run, gets the momentum back on your side. And Lanita Yellen will take his first timeout, similar to what we saw in set number 2, where Tampa made a little bit of a run. Barry called a timeout and got the momentum back on their side just as quickly.
And that's exactly, you just asked a minute ago, what does Tampa need to do to get back into the game for a chance to win? They need to have flawless plays just like they did out of the timeout. You know, when the Tampa offense is moving at its full potential, They are incredibly tough to stop. But it is hard to keep up that level of play the entire time. And against most opponents, Tampa doesn't need to do that. They can play at a pretty strong level and then be patient and invite errors. But this is not a Barry team that are going to commit errors. Only 8 attacking errors in the game. Very rarely do you see Tampa commit more errors on offense compared to their opponents, but that is the case today. So Tampa just needs to keep this play up. It is not going to be easy, but it's something they're going to have to do if they want to stay undefeated to start the Imperial era.
And really, if you're Barry, you got that matchup against Lynn looming at home, trying to get that serious sweep coming up on Tuesday over in Miami Shores. But you will love to return home with the win against the #1 team in the nation on your ledger. Off Rivera, off the railing. Good play by Tampa on the free ball. In the middle set, a little bit off the fingertips of Frankie Good. And the Martinez center starting to come alive a little bit as you see Kozlova and Iglesias back on the floor for Barry.
It's a playoff atmosphere at the Bob Martinez Center right now. You never see it get excited, at least to this level in the regular season. That is huge for you, Tampa, to have the ball behind them, especially when they were low on confidence throughout the start of the set and throughout the second. A rotation error also now gives them another point in a row. 5-0 Tampa run. That's their best run of the game.
And yeah, I think the rotation, the violation involved Good and, what they said, was it Good and Iglesias? You see associate head coach Steven Soriano, who's been the kind of the extension of Lenny Yellen, and they're having a conversation with Rebecca Carlson about the rotation and the violation that led to that point.
I like how you mentioned Simon being the extension of Yellen kind of on the sideline, because that was the role Imperialis had for Coach Kadnack for pretty much a decade before getting the step up to the head coaching role with Kadnack's retirement this offseason. And you know, it's always tough when you move on from a legend, but Imperial has been so connected to the Spartans roster, so connected to the teams, having been part of the national title winning sides from 2014, 2018, and 2021. It's not a surprise that his transition to head coach has gone just so smoothly.
And on that extended delay causes a service there, and Mr. Yellen having a conversation with Rebecca Carlson, our line official down below near the scorer's table. That breaks up the 5-0 Tampa run. Kaya Reed-Miller will serve. Bucks up by 3, 19-16, trying to take this pivotal third set. Perez block stays with the Spartans. Back to Perez again, this time underneath the arm of Kozlova.
As we reach now kind of a back and forth finale for set 3, the advantage stays with the Bucks. Coach Yellen has one more timeout to use, but getting the ball behind you and getting this recent set of momentum is huge for you, Tampa, because they've really felt out of the game since that second set when Barry took that big lead, and now they're knocking on the doorstep of the lead.
Kozlova goes after Glaudel, and a big side out for the presumed freshman and possibly player of the year in the Sunshine State Conference.
Yeah, I mean, freshman of the year is going to be obvious already, but overall player of the year for the conference, for the region, for the nation, I think that's also on the cards for Kozlova. Just unbelievable play for her this season.
Well, National Player of the Week twice. Tess Stringer slaps someone down, side up for Tampa. He back to 2. Dondero and Carter on the floor. Dondero will serve.
I like the Carter substitution. You know, she's always able to deliver in a clutch spot for Tampa. Whenever you need high leverage points, she's a reliable player to call upon.
And that one sneaks inside the line, and again, Kozlova finds the pocket. Hey, Barry will take the seesaw with them having the advantage.
Big thing for Kozlova, she's been able to rest for a while. You know, she hasn't been super active, and that has got to be scary for the Spartans, knowing that she's fully energized for these pivotal points.
Middle set going back into it is Jenna Davis. They've had success when they've gone to that middle set with Jenna Davis, Taylor. I would like to see Tampa try to utilize that more towards the end of this third set and probably going forward in step 4.
And I think a surprising thing is that the battle at the net has been closer than you'd expect. Tampa hasn't been able to get as aggressive trying to block, but they have done a good job of denying a couple of Kozlova attacks.
Through the block, great save by Rivera, back over to the Bucks. Kozlova again, through the block, past a diving Rivera and Tess Schringer. 22-19. Tampa has exhausted both of their timeouts in set 3. Barry has one left. Outside, Ron off the block. Off to Rivera, great save by Dondero. Overpass to Tampa. Back to Barry, dug out by Rivera. Carter with the free ball. And Arameva slams that one down, 23-19.
Third time was the charm on the attack from the Bucks. We saw some incredible digs from Tampa. Dondero and Rivera back-to-back keeping the play going. But once it got back to Arameva, there was no stopping it.
Bucks 2 points away from taking a 2-1 lead. Number 2 for Tampa gets the side out.
Ron's up to 12 kills in the game. She's been showing up for the Spartans. The heir to Callie Kors doing a good job, pretty level in terms of the kills and attack tally against the heir to Diana Akapova and Kozlova.
23-20 Barry, Ana Rivera on serve. They set on the outside, blocked at the net. The Tampa block being strong right there. That's Rachel Gregg. 21-23. No timeout from Elite Yellen.
I don't think you can call a timeout if you're yelling. Even if it gets like level, I think you have to let it play on, because if you call a timeout, the Bob Martinez Center is going to explode with cheers, and that's going to be a wave of momentum that'll actually benefit the Spartans more so than having a chance to talk to your team.
Well, you don't have to worry about the timeout as Kozlova starts to take over to close out the set, and the Bucks will have 3 set points in hand.
Yeah, they only need 1 point in 3 tries, but if Tampa can get a 3-0 run, that would be crazy. They first have to stop an impressive serve from the lefty.
Now one sails long, service air, side up for Tampa. Brings back on Perez and Gladel.
And if they get the point here and can force a Barry timeout, that would be huge for the Spartans. But actually, they're just going to call the timeout early.
Got a time 8. You can't take timeouts over in the set. 24-22. Barry still with set point. Timeout call for the Bucks. Both teams out of timeouts in this third set. It appeared that Tampa was going to have another tough mountain to climb, being down as much as 7 points in this third set, but he found a way, Taylor, to scrap and claw their way back. Now you have the timeout. This serve coming up, pivotal for Tampa. They want to keep the momentum and keep their chances of stealing this third set.
Yeah, but I think what the big thing for the Spartans is they've put themselves back in the game. You know, losing this set will hurt the Spartans, but if it was still like 24-17 at this stage, like it was looking like it was going to be halfway through the set, I think you could write it up as a Tampa loss because they were out of rhythm. They were not hitting as well as the Bucks. They were clearly one step behind in the play. But they are really excelling down the stretch. They have clawed the deficit back to 2. They're out hitting Barry 324 to 282 in the set percentage. Even if they drop this set, they have given themselves momentum to take to the 4th set. And I think Tampa will be in a good position to try to force a second 5th set match of the season for the Spartans. It last happened against the Eckerd Tritons when Tampa then rallied to win set 5. The Tritons have always been a thorn in the Spartans' side in regular season play, forcing Tampa upsets on occasion in close games. Tampa trying to do the opposite against the Bucks today. Even if they drop set 3, they'll do a good job, but they still have a chance to take the set and take the 2-1 lead.
Laudel on the serve, back from the timeout. Kozlova, straight dig by Perez. Outside, Connor on. Goes long, no touch, and the Bucks will hold on for set 3, 25-22. So Barry, at the losing set one, strings on 2 straight sets and has the Spartans on the ropes. Set 4 for the Martinez Center when we come back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Back inside the Martinez Center. Barry fell in the first set to the number 1 ranked Spartans, 25-22. They strung off the next two, 25-13, 25-22. Victor Anderson back with us alongside Taylor Stolworthy for the match. Barry hitting 316 to Tampa's 252. 6 service errors for the Bucks, 2 for the Spartans. Blocks even for a piece, but it's been the efficiency of Barry and jumping out to big leads in the last 2 sets that have been the reason why the Bucks are on the verge of putting a 1 in the loss column for Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa has not fallen behind 2-1 all season long. They only had 1 game go 5 sets. They've always won in 3 sets throughout the regular season. This is the first time Tampa's actually been on the ropes. And that's just a testament to how strong Barry has been. One thing I'll say is I am very much looking forward to these 2 teams rematch in Miami later this year, and most likely in the regional final in tournament play.
Well, there's a team of Boca Raton will have plenty to say about if that's going to go that way, and Jenna Glodell will have plenty to say if it's going to a 5th set. She starts off with an ace in set number 4. Glodell and Matt Carter on the floor to start set 4 for Tampa, along with Ron Stranger, Glodell, and the libero Ana Rivera. Ron, out of bounds, no touch, point Barry. Kozlova leads the way with all players with 14 kills. And I misspoke earlier. I said earlier in the match that she had 7 straight matches with double-digit kills. She actually has 8. Now it's 9 double-digit kill matches. I don't want to bury media relations department, the phenomenal job that they do on our case about any misinformation. Almost a misset by Rachel Gray, but gets the kill down nonetheless, side on Tampa.
Whoever has taken the first point of the set has gone on to win it for sets 1, 2, and 3. So it's good news for the Spartans to have the lead early on, but they're only up 2-1. Still close to start the period.
Backside to Kozlova. Long, was there a touch? No. Point for Tampa. Kozlova, right now, we're kind of agreed, Tyler, the favorite to win both Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year, something that has never been done in the history of the Sunshine State Conference. Big block at the net by Schrenger, and Rachel Gregg makes it a 4-1 Tampa advantage. So Tampa doing a Barry what Barry did to Tampa and sets 2 and 3 with big starts in the set.
And it really started from set 3 for the Spartans, where they had that late rally. They weren't able to complete the comeback and win that third set, but they gave the team hope. They playing the volleyball that they needed to play, like they were back in set 1, and it's already kicked off to a great start in set 4.
And there's into the net. Osichenko went into the net by serving 1 in an early timeout for volleyball director Leonid Yellen. So Tampa giving Barry a dose of their own medicine, an early timeout. 5-1 here in set number 40. Electricity flowing in the Martinez Center on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport, it's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all, because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
The energy is alive inside the Martinez Center. 5-1 Tampa. Early stages of set number 4. Bananas and Taylor Sorworthy got as you're with us on this Saturday afternoon. Tampa being the aggressors against the third-ranked Buccaneers, forcing an early timeout and substitution as Michaela Delius will check on the floor for Veronica Arimeva. Miscommunication on the receive by Tampa. Blocked again by Gregg. Stays with the Bucks. Tampa being more assertive on those swings by Kozlova. Very out of system. Bucks trying to take advantage. Tampa wanting a double hit violation. They say that went out of bounds. From our vantage point up here in the perch, it looked like that might have clipped inside that little split between the free throw line and that back row.
It was right on the line, and that is a close call. It really could have gone either way.
Well, Tampa thought there should have been a double touch on Barry earlier in that point. And that swing by Stringer went just a bit long.
But you know, you can't fight City Hall. You just have to move on to the next point.
Barry again out of system. Free ball back over to the Spartans. Stringer rolls it over. Kozlova sneaks it in, and the Bucks are rid off 2 in a row. Elias on to serve. And right into the net for a service error. Service game was dominant for Barry in set number 2, but really quiet in set number 3.
I think Tampa's doing a better job of defending the serve so far. Notably also, Arameva has taken a breather. She has led the way with 5 of the 6 aces for the Bucks today.
All 5 of those aces came in the first 2 sets. Right in the middle on a tee to Frankie Good, side out Barry.
I think it's big for Arameva to take a breather on the sideline, get a little hydration, and get a chance to rest up, either for later in this set or if they need set 5, she'll be at full force ready to go. Tampa's got to have all their stars on the floor for now.
A player like Elias, who's able to not lose any production when you're getting your rest on the bench. Dig over pass back to Barry. Stringer off the shoulder of the libero Reed Mueller. Nice save by Glaudel, back to Stringer. That's gonna hit the chair on fire, point for Tampa.
What a ball by Glaudel. The ball was at the middle of the net. Barry was looking to try to reach over and hit it, but Glaudel parries it over to Stringer, who gets a very nice attack. And with Barry on the back foot for most of that point, it's great for the Spartans to capitalize and go back up by 3.
Dondero and Perez back on. Dondero to serve. And right in front of the libero, Osichenko, side out for the Bucks.
I think a lot of people on paper would have had Osichenko to kind of be the star this season for Barry, but that hasn't been the case. Osichenko's still been extremely good again. She has been incredible throughout her tenure with the Bucks. A lot of the spotlights on Kozlova and on Arameva, but you can't forget about the number 2.
Perez. Barry trying to cut it down to a 1-point set. Kozlova goes after her counter ride. Back to Perez. And that's going to be a touch off with Elias. Point for the Spartans. The Tampa crowd more energized. We started to hear them perk back up towards the tail end of set 3, and they continue that energy in set number 4.
For sure, just having the crowd behind you can be such a difference maker.
Stringer on service. Kozlova off the block. Dondero right in the middle. And again, that middle set, Dondero and Jenna Davis, when they've used it, it's worked. And Barry has used their final timeout of set number 2. We will reset along with the Buccaneers. 9-5 Tampa, set 4 here in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport, it's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all, because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Martinez Center rocking in set number 4. Tampa up by 4, trying to force set number 5. Victor Anderson, Taylor Stolworthy with us. Taylor, what's been the biggest thing that you've seen from Tampa that has gotten them off to this strong start?
I think it's just hard to tell in particular. Barry have been a little bit clumsy. They haven't been able to capitalize on all of their plays. But I think Tampa as a whole is just limiting the errors and allowing their runs to naturally continue. They're not messing up serves. They're not messing up sets. They're playing at the level they've needed to.
Through the block. Free ball back over by Rivera. Heads up play by the junior libero. Tampa again, solid defensively. That's one of the biggest reasons why the Spartans have this lead. And another dig by Rivera. And that's going to go long and out of bounds. Point for Barry.
But Tampa's needed to be perfect defensively. And honestly, apart from set 2, they've really been able to do a good job getting in front of Barry's attacks. Look at their attacking numbers on the set. 18 attacks, just 3 kills. They're hitting 056 with 2 errors. That is how strong Tampa's been at limiting them, getting those opening attacking opportunities.
And just misses the back line as Osichenko, the service air, makes it a 10-6 Tampa lead in set 4. Tampa took the opening set 25-22. Barry won sets 2 and 3, 25-13, 25-22 respectively. The Spartans had the 4-point edge in set 4. Serve still for Rivera. Ozlova off the net, but goes inside the line, and those are the bounces that need to go your way.
That's a good bounce for Barry, and going down 5 at this stage of the set, after using your final timeout to try to prevent Tampa from going on a huge run, would not have been good. And it was very aggressive early timeouts for Yellen, but I think what he wants to do is make sure that Barry don't fall too far behind. If they do in the set, Tampa can carry that momentum into the 5th set. And that's going to be the big thing. Barry, if they lose here, they will have the 15-point set to play because they went up 2-1. And they will likely bring Arameva back onto the floor as she is currently given a chance to rest on the sideline.
Ron with the kill, Glaudel and Carter in. Glaudel with the service air, side out for Barry.
I think it's only the first error on the serve of the set for the Spartans, maybe the second. Limiting those issues is going to be the big thing.
Back on serve is Ivana Zujovic, the reigning defensive player of the week in the Sunshine State Conference. 6 digs, a block, only 2 kills so far this afternoon. Beautiful time set attack by Jenna Glaudel, dumps it over. We get the service right back to the Spartans.
2 aces and 2 kills now for Glaudel. Really nice touch to confuse the Bucks defense and win the point.
12 serving ace Spartans, set 4. And another kill for Michaela DeLias. Gives the service right back to Barry.
It's been back and forth out of that final timeout. That's actually good news for the Bucks, as Tampa hasn't been able to seriously pull away. But Tampa also doesn't mind going back and forth. They lead by 3.
DeLias with the jump serve. Great backspin over pass, and just lands out of bounds. And I mean, just landed by half a volleyball on the outside.
That was wicked spin, an incredible serve that time around. Tough for Tampa to get on top of it.
To Rivera. Carter tools it off the block of Osichenko. And Matt Carter with the kill, side out Tampa. Well, in the 3rd kill of the afternoon for Matt Carter. Has some strong success in previous matches against Barry last year. Most notably had 6 kills in their regional semifinal win in Boca Raton last year. Tipped over, great save by Glaudel. Free ball by Tess Stringer. And Kozlova makes kill number 17.
Kozlova as good as advertised. You know, the numbers against the Spartans a little bit down from her seasonal averages, hitting 349 on the year. But that has certainly got to be expected because she is going up against a Tampa defense that has certainly been game planning ways to slow her down.
Hardo pushed it through. Kozlova back over, jousts at the net, stays on the Spartan side. Stringer.
I am not a fan of that call. I will say that. I thought that was in. There was a previous play, the one that you mentioned was right by the foul line. I think that one did go a little bit out of bounds for Tampa, but I think that should have been the Spartans' point. That is rough for the Spartans to lose out on.
Now you got to reset. Now you got to settle back in. Instead of being up by 2, you're up by 1. And as Rasheed Wallace says, ball don't lie. Into the net, side out Tampa.
I was going to say that on the previous play, the one that had been right on the foul line, but maybe the ball was telling the truth that Barry deserved that point, but Tampa certainly deserved the previous one and now gets the service error.
Substitutions for the Bucks. We'll see Petra Kurcic check back in. We'll see a first look at the freshman Sofia Senkova, one of 4 Russians on the roster for Barry. 14-12. Spartans Halfway point of set 4. And Jenna Davis makes it 15-12.
You know, a lot of the teams in the SEC have good international backing for players all around the world. But Barry, you know, they've got some Russian superstars that had previously been Akapova. And now, of course, you've got players like Osichenko and Koslova, who does take a quick breather.
Schranger, 16-12.
And here comes Arameva. She's re-entering the game.
And again, Barry out of timeouts in this second set. Used both timeouts in the first 14 points of set number 4. Dondero remains on serve. Up received by Reed Mueller. Free ball back to the Spartans. Trying to push the lead to 5. Back to Schranger. Dondero in the middle. This time with the touch played by Osichenko. Through the block, and that could be a kill to spark things. Sinkova averaging 1.4 kills per set this year with her first of this match. Makes it 13 serving 16. And on check, confirmed the substitution. Barry got called for a rotation violation during set number 2. During set number 1, excuse me. Perez. Boy Spartans, Natalie Perez.
Patented power from Perez. Has kind of been cold today, but she's actually been shifting more to a defensive role. 10 digs, and that is her fifth kill on a brilliant attack.
Well, you're an All-American a year ago. Everyone's going to focus your efforts on you, and that's going to open things up for the Connor Rons and Rachel Greggs of the world. Barry wanted a lip violation, no call. Play continues. Osichenko sends that long and out of bounds for Tampa. So now the Buccaneers will celebrate festivities early with their airing of grievances towards our officials in the white shirts. Hey, Barry's calling a timeout. Barry used both of their timeouts. That should be a card on Barry for using an excessive timeout.
Yeah, and the referees, I think, noticed it as well. So both teams back onto the floor.
And that should be a card on Lenid Yellen for using an excessive timeout.
Wow, I'm surprised. You normally don't see that happen.
Usually, and that impromptu timeout serves the Bucks well as they get the service air. Been a rough fourth set for the officials, who are certainly doing a tremendous job, certain calls notwithstanding. Off the block, thanks to Connor Ron, 19-14 Tampa. Each team has won a 5-set match earlier this year. Both of them each team has played a 5-set match. Tampa won theirs against Eckerd. Barry lost theirs versus Palm Beach Atlantic. Lott, Gregg, and Perez, 2014.
This is huge for the Spartans. And because Barry used their timeouts early, they don't have a way to naturally stop that momentum.
Well, they tried to sneak a third timeout in there a few points ago. Off the net, right behind it is Stringer. Ryan, 21-14. And we'll see a substitution. We're going to see Ava Ross, little used freshman from Cherry Hills Village, Colorado, come on and give Osichenko some rest going into set number 5. Ana Rivera serves. Free ball back to the Spartans. Dondero in the middle, and that middle set works once again to Rachel Gregg. Tampa hitting 310 in set number 4. For the match, Tampa hitting 265 to Barry's 256. And that's well needed by Aaron Mava, side out for Barry. And Coach Schelling electing to keep Kozlova and Iglesias on the bench. So it's 3 big options. I think what you're thinking about, Tyler, keep them first, get ready for set 5.
Exactly. Tampa's got a 7-point lead, make it 8 off the service error. I think Tampa's going to be able to draw level, and having those players at full energy for the race to 15 is going to be useful. Tampa's players, they're able to rotate a lot, so they're not going to be too tired, but they are coming off of an active set, so maybe the stamina question could be in favor of Barry when we get to that new period of play.
And no Laney Purdue needed in this 4th set, so keep that chess piece in mind as we get ready for that decisive 5th set. And it's been that kind of set for Connor Ron. Had 7 kills in the 1st set, quiet in the last 2, has reemerged here in set 4 and in a set point for Tampa. That's going to go long and almost caught Mackenzie Dufresne. And Tampa takes set 4, 25-15. And we will lock in and get ready for a decisive 5th set. Race to 15, must win by 2. They will have the coin flip to determine who will have service first and what side we will play on to start off this 5th set. Everyone take a breath. Take whatever, whatever information you need to get yourself ready. Set 5 for the Martinez Center, number 1 versus number 3, with first place in the conference on the line coming up on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
First 50 years of the Sunshine State Conference inspired champions and built a legacy rooted in excellence. A legacy built from a single sport to a conference of national champions. Threaded through geography, fueled by growth, defined by excellence. 135 team national titles, 173 individual champions, and hundreds of Scholar All-Americans. Always at the top of NCAA Division II. Looking ahead, we reflect on where we started, where we are, and where we're going. The Sunshine State Conference, where success thrives.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport, it's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all, because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
back inside the Martinez Center. Tampa holds on and takes set number 4, 25-15. And we're on to set 5. Victor Anderson, Taylor Stowworthy, glad you're with us. I don't think we need to say much else. The situation speaks for itself. Whoever wins this set will be on top of the Sunshine State Conference and will be the presumably #1 team in the nation when the polls come out on Tuesday.
Whoever loses is probably going to be #2 in the nation. I think no matter what, Barry's got to climb the rankings, not only after their win against Florida Southern, but after a great performance so far against the Spartans.
Tampa hit 333 in set 4. Barry held to 0-62. Service air gets the Bucks on the board to start set 5. Whoever took the first point in the previous 4 sets went on to win said set. Tampa hoping that trend does not continue. And Kozlova with the big block. 2-0 lead for the Bucks.
Kozlova started playing professionally with the Dynamo Moscow U20 team and has recently joined Barry, almost in a trade, you could say, with Diana Akapova, who is now back with the club. She was a U20 player for them before heading to Syracuse with Coach Yellen and then coming back to Barry later on.
That swing into the net by Rachel Craig, and it's a 3-0 lead for the Bucks, and of course an early timeout by Brian Imperial.
Yeah, Tampa's got to go to the early timeout here because it's a race to 15. You can't fall behind by 4 points.
Yeah, they'll take that timeout with them. 3-0 lead for Barry in this decisive set on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
3-0 lead for Barry early on in set 5. Victor Anderson, Taylor Stowworthy. Matchup of the top 2 teams in the conference and 2 of the top 3 teams in the nation. Bucks off to an early lead, and Tess Schrenger gets the Spartans on the board after the timeout.
That's an important response for the Spartans out of the timeout. You know, set 5, everything is just more fast-paced than normal. You have the race to 15 and set of 25. And a 3-point run is so much more impactful here than it normally is. And it's big for Barry to start out with the lead, but Tampa with a chance to respond. It's Purdue in for the serve.
As we anticipated, that extra piece, Purdue did not appear in set number 4 for Tampa. Kozlova, dug by Rivera. She's been solid in these last few sets. Barry trying to take their lead back to 3, but blocked. Rachel Gregg makes it 3-2.
The Bob was stone cold quiet after the 3-0 run, but they're getting loud, and Barry cannot afford for the Spartans' 7th man to get excited again.
Barry looking for a big side out. Won't get it. Great hustle by Rivera to set up the free ball opportunity. Oh, and that was a bad set. Double touch. The bad set up the unfortunate position for Frankie Good. 3 straight points by Barry. Timeout Tampa. 3 straight points by Tampa. Timeout Barry. So let's all reset. Woosah. Take whatever answer you need to. We'll be back in a few moments on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
No, that love of sports is the #1 reason most people start officiating, and verbal abuse is the #1 reason why most quit. Act with respect and be officially human.
Three, Barry, Tampa, 2-2 in set number 5. Match has been everything it is expected to be and then some. High-level play on both sides. Glodell, free ball back to the Bucks, but it'll be called for a double touch on the freshman, and the Bucks regain the lead. 4-3, Victor Anderson, Taylor Stolworthy. When you're referencing so much to Racing 15, your room for error shrinks considerably in this situation.
Yeah, and funny enough, both teams have committed plenty of errors to start the set. And that time, a reception error from Tampa and Barry have made it 2 points out of the timeout.
5-3 Bucks, thanks to the kill by Kozlova. 5-3. Another strong serve from Barry. Carter, her attack gets blocked but out of bounds. Give the kill to Matt Carter, side out Tampa.
Yeah, these teams, they cannot commit errors anymore, because this game could very much go to tiebreakers. We haven't had tiebreakers in any of the first 4 sets, but set 5 is an entirely different animal.
Another block by Carter, popped up over by Good. Schranger gets blocked by Kozlova and Frankie Good, 6-4. A big block by the favorite for player and freshman of the year. She could become the first player ever since the Freshman of the Year award was started in 1991 to win freshman and a player of the year in the same season. That's how good she's been for this number 3 ranked Buccaneer team. Through the block, 7-4.
The only thing that might stop her from winning both is if the voting committees are like, we only want to give her one of the awards and give maybe a different freshman the freshman award.
Well, think of it this way. In the history of the conference, there have been newcomer of the year, freshman of the year, and player of the year. Only once has a player won both of those awards. That was Berkeley Whaley back in 2013. Recently inducted Tampa Hall of Famer Berkeley Whaley, by the way. Dump shot over the net. Buccaneers all over the floor. Side out for Tampa. Dondero and Perez will be back on the floor. When a team does reach 8 points, since it is a race to 15, we will have a side change, which will serve as a mini timeout.
And both teams also have 1 timeout left to spend. They each use their first after the initial 3-point runs.
Tampa block, push back over, great save by Rivera. Kozlova gets it off the fingertips of Laney Purdue, and Barry will have the side change with the 8-5 advantage. Tampa so far in this set. Both teams are hitting in the negatives for the majority of this 5th set. Right now Barry for set number 5, hitting just near right at 0 for the set.
It's been very defensively orientated set 5, and that's very surprising because you'd think the defense would fall off as the fatigue sets in for both teams, but they're using everything they've got to close out what you could definitely say has been match of the year for D2 volleyball just across the nation.
Tampa hitting -125 in set 5. Barry hitting a 0 hitting percentage in this 5th set. But they have the 3-point lead after the side change. Stringer through the block, side out Tampa.
Back and forth play benefits Barry. That's the big thing to note right here. They lead by 2. Tampa's gonna need a run to get back in the lead or back to tying the game.
And Connor Ron back on the floor for Lanny Purdue. Dondero on the serve, 26 assists to go along with 4 digs. Kozlova to Rivera. Dondero. Ron rolls it over, just in front of the outstretched fingertips of Greenmueller. Makes it 7, serving 8.
Looking earlier at the play, you know, Iglesias setting the ball up for Kozlova. Your job is a lot easier as a setter when you've got Kozlova receiving, because you can set it up pretty high, and Kozlova will always come down with a good attack on it.
Overpass to Tampa, looking to tie up the 5th set. They do not. Great dig by Greenmueller off that quick set. Off the shoulder. 8-all. So miscommunication causes a Barry timeout. The Bob is booming. 8-8. This is the matchup that we were kind of hoping to see when we walked into the Martinez Center this afternoon, and this match has done anything but disappoint, and we're going to be in for another thrilling finish as Barry burns their final timeout of this set.
I'll tell you, as a broadcaster, whenever you're going into a game, you're looking for 2 things. Either 1, a really quick game, or 2, a really exciting game. This one obviously on the latter. 2 of the best teams in the nation going blow for blow, going back and forth. It is not disappointed. Everyone at the Bob, whether you're a Barry fan, whether you're a Spartan fan, you're having a great time. And that's also a reminder for just students and fans in the Tampa area. Come down to the Bob Martinez Center throughout the season. We're going to be taking on Florida Southern on Tuesday. It's the biggest rivalry in Sunshine State Conference athletics, the classic rivalry, Mocs and Spartans. It might not be as exciting as Bucks and Tampa, but it's always a great time.
Well, the people down on 995, in my hometown, they say Barry and Lynn might be the most exciting rivalry in the conference. They'll be having a top 10 clash on Tuesday night at the Health and Sciences Center. And Barry, if they come back, could be the #1 team in the nation going into that matchup. But a lot of volleyball still to play. 8-all, set 5. Tampa took sets 1 and 4. Barry won sets 2 and 3. Barry out of timeouts for set 5. Low line tries serve. Tampa looking to regain the lead. And they will. Natalie Perez makes it 9-8 Tampa.
That's the most important point for the Spartans so far. Coming out of Barry's final timeout, Perez gives them the lead. That could be huge because Barry can't stop any momentum Tampa builds from here on out.
Another strong serve by Stringer. Rolls it over to Perez. Ron. Great dig on the back row by the Bucks. Rivera saves it up for Tampa. Elias back over to Rivera. Middle set blocks. Sujovic showing you why she's the reigning defensive player of the week in the league. 9-all.
You know what is the big thing for Sujovic? She's usually next to Kozlova on the line making blocks. And because you can't hit it towards Kozlova, you have to hit it towards her. And she says thank you very much because she is very strong at elevating and denying attacks.
Barry Mabel on serve for Barry. Perez makes it 10-9 at the free throw line.
Perez was very quiet to start the game on the attack, but she's got ice in her veins because she has been so clutch for Tampa, getting the first point out of the timeout, and another kill to keep Tampa in front. That's kill number 7 for her in the game, getting her hitting percentage up alongside 11 digs.
One of the best performances we've seen from the All-American, perhaps all season long. And coming through in a very pivotal time in this match. Little roll shot from Ari Mava. Gives a point to Barry, and now it's the race to 5.
Kozlova back onto the floor. She took a quick breather for a few points. And now it'll be her and Thelius trying to retie the game.
Tampa fans stomping and clapping all across the Bob Martinez Center. Tied at 10, set 5. Ryan rolls it over. Bucks ready for it, trying to regain the lead. Great dig on the backside by Reed Mueller. Koslova blocks. 11-10, and number 11, Rachel Gray, does the honors and gives a side out right back to Tampa.
What a stop by Rachel Gregg. It is not easy to block the 6'11 freshman.
Glaudel and Carter back on. Glaudel will serve. Glaudel, 20 assists, 9 digs, and 2 service aces. Her best game in her young Spartan career. Works it through the block. Aaron Mava, side out Barry.
By the way, despite having been blocked on the previous play, Kozlova has hit 20 kills in the game. She's had 35 kills in most of the season, did that against Lewis on September 20th.
Little set blocked. Now how about that? That's Frankie good. 12-11. Coach Brian Imperial use his final timeout.
Not yet, but he might have to soon because now Barry has the advantage for back and forth play. 2 in a row, they've been able to retake the lead.
Sijovic on the serve. Overpass. Oh, they're going to say illegal attack on Barry. What a break for Tampa. Laney Purdue on the floor for Colorado will serve 12-all.
This is a huge point right here, getting the 13, because then the team that has it, if you go up 14-12, that is huge for set 3.
Made by Rivera. Stringer. Through the block, another dig for Rivera. Great dig by Reed Mueller. There was a touch, 13-12.
Incredible digs early on the play though by Ana Rivera. You know, she has had a stellar night, and that will be Tampa's final timeout.
Coach Brian Imperial uses the timeout. 13-12. Barry on the precipice of knocking off Tampa for the second straight season in Tampa when the Spartans were ranked number 1 in the nation.
I think a big thing for Barry to note, their last 3 times they beat the Spartans were 3-0 wins. They swept the series in 6 sets in the regular season last year before Tampa got revenge in Boca Raton. And then in 2022, in the regional final at the Bob Martinez Center, Barry gave Tampa their first 3-0 loss in 2 years of volleyball with a commanding win to give themselves a ride to the national championships. Whenever a game has not ended in 3 sets, Tampa's come out on top in their most recent fixtures, winning the road matchup and home matchup, sweeping the series in 2023, and of course winning in 4 sets in the 2024 playoffs.
This is the 17th match played between these 2 teams that has gone to full 5. Tampa has the edge 11-5, but Lynn won the most recent 5-set matchup. That was back on November 4th, 2022 in Miami Shores at the Health and Sciences Center. 13-12, Barry with the lead, both teams out of timeouts in set number 5. And a costly service there. 13-all. And we're gonna see a freshman, Zoe Richardson. So Brian Imperial going deep to his bench with the freshman from Durham, North Carolina, to serve for the biggest point in this regular season for Tampa. Kozlova through the block. Gladwell, Stringer tips it over. Kozlova uses that 6'11" height. Match point Tampa. Seth Schrenger. The crowd tells you the story. Match point for the Spartans. Spartans go on a 4-1 run to close out the third-ranked Berry Buccaneers, 25-22, 13-25, 22-25, 25-15, 15-13. And regardless if you're a Buccaneer or a Spartan, woo! What a match that we got to see here this afternoon.
I think that might be a match that both teams remember for a long time. I've been covering Tampa volleyball since the 2021 season when they went and won the national championship here at the Bob Martinez Center. I don't remember a regular season match that was as intense as this. These teams put it all on the line today. What a performance for the Bucks, but what a comeback for Tampa. It was 18-11 in the third set. Tampa was at their lowest point. They had done nothing in set two. They were completely out of rhythm, and it was looking the same in set three. But Tampa fought back 11-7 to close the set. They did lose set three, but it gave them momentum to cruise through set four and for a late rally from 13-12 down to take the final 3 points to make it 16-0 for Imperial's 16th win.
And the substitution of Zoe Richardson giving some tough serves for Berry. Schrenger with the kill. And then Kozlova with the air that went just wide, and you can see the emotion down on the court. You see a great job by Laney Perdue, and you kind of see the excitement from the Tampa coaching staff because they understood the tall task that was ahead of them, having to deal with Kozlova and this almost a juggernaut of Berry. But now if you're the Bucks, quick turnaround, you go home to Miami Shores, you take on a Lynn squad who's looking for some payback of their own when you went to Boca Raton to beat them earlier in the season. So now if you're Lanid Yellen, what's your message to the team as you get ready to go back home and take on your I-95 rivals on Tuesday night?
I don't know if I'd have a message to the team because I think this loss is just going to get them focused and hungry to get back to work. And I'd be really nervous as I was the Lynn roster, seeing Berry lose such a close game because out of the gate, they are coming out full force. They are coming out swinging on Tuesday. It's a rivalry game and a game that Berry needs to win. Because when you look at the conference title, Tampa has the tiebreaker against Berry and a 2-game lead. This could be the first Imperial Conference title championship. If they don't lose a game the rest of the season, if up until maybe the second rematch against Berry. If Berry gets the win in Miami and Tampa are flawless the rest of the way, Tampa will be conference champions because they now have a 2-game lead in the conference. But obviously, all these teams aren't necessarily looking at the conference title. That's always good to win on the side. They're going to be looking forward to the playoffs that are not going to be too far away either.
Well, we're at the halfway mark towards the conference schedule. Tampa will be back home inside the Martinez Center Tuesday night versus their rival, Florida Southern. We mentioned Berry will take on Lynn in a top 10 matchup at 7 p.m. You can catch all the action on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. For Taylor Stowworthy, our entire crew, I'm Victor Anderson saying so long for the Bob Martinez Southern in an absolute thriller. Number 1 knocks off number 3 and 5. Tampa takes a decisive set, 15-13, and will for at least one more week remain undefeated and number 1 in all of Division II. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. Take whatever relaxation methods you need, and we'll talk to you Tuesday night for the Martinez Center. This has been Spartan Volleyball on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Have a great Saturday afternoon.